Welcome to This Justin, the show bringing you the latest advancements in healthcare, strategy, innovation, and public policy. And now, for the fastest voice in healthcare, here's your host, Justin Barnes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the special edition of This Justin Radio. I'm your host, Justin Barnes. Today, we're broadcasting live from the Health 2024 in sunny Las Vegas. For today, I have a fantastic lineup of CEOs, CIOs, care providers, policy leaders, and visionaries. As many of you know, my goal for broadcasting live each year from these key conferences is to create an information medium that shares best practices, strategies, and actionable intelligence from the industry's leading sources and experts. My goal, along with all my guests here, will be to offer tactics and strategies to not only survive, but to thrive as you navigate your hospital, your physician practice, your company, or even your family through all of these changes occurring across healthcare. There's more opportunity than ever before for all of us to thrive, but we must understand how healthcare is evolving, how policy and reimbursement is shifting, and where best practices and innovation can support our efforts. I hope you glean all of that over the next few days. That's at least my goal. Welcome back to This Justin Radio Show, broadcasting live from Health 2024 in sunny Las Vegas. I'm very excited to introduce my next guest and new friend of the show, Susmit Pal, Global Director for Healthcare for Connected Health and Client Solutions for Dell. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, Justin, great to be with you.
Yes, it's great to meet you, and I'm glad that our friends at AMD connected us. So we're at the tail end of health now, and I assume it was a great show for you so far?
It's been amazing.
What are some exciting things that you've seen around the show so far?
Yeah, Justin, so I think everybody is excited about AI for quite some time now, but the really exciting thing for me this time was to see some of those projects, that AI projects that has been in proof of concept and pilot stages, really see the light of day in terms of scale out and broader adoption. And frankly, results that actually make a difference, because unless you apply it to a wider group of patients, it doesn't really move the needle from an outcome standpoint. So it was really good to see some of those examples.
Yeah, I mean, and I know we'll dive in here in a second, but I agree. Many of the guests, before you, and we're catching up off air a little bit, it's really cool to see. Again, you mentioned, we've been talking about the promise of AI for 10, 15 years in healthcare. And now to see it, where the rubber meets the road, what we're, really that, success and best practices that people are having inside their institutions, certainly within health systems, and then certainly practices as well, and also organizations. It's exciting, and we're seeing a lot of that here at the conference. So I guess that kind of dovetails into, and maybe this feeds it into what you just said, but I like to start off with something very positive with my interview. So, what progress are you most excited to see occurring in healthcare today?
So going back to that, it's one thing to do a proof of concept and get a curated set of data and run an AI model and show that it can be done. So that's great. That's the step one. But as you try to implement that and scale it out in different hospitals, clinics, you run into the real challenges, which is people process, right? Technology is always the easier thing to do. But within people process, there is everything from training to adoption to acceptance of AI, and those are real problems which just takes more effort, more time. And so some of the examples that we are starting to see where use cases that have been proven out in a lab, let's say like medical imaging and applying deep learning on medical images to provide assistive diagnosis. So things like that, as you put them in practice, what are some of the people process, what are some of the dynamics that you encountered there, and how to make it really successful at the point of care. So I think that was the most exciting thing, and as a trend, I think we are starting to do more of these deployments, and there's definitely a lot of lessons that are coming out of it.
Yeah. So I guess kind of following up on that, specifically, what are a few, and you mentioned AI and certainly the progress there, but anything else from the healthcare or digital health trends that you're seeing in the industry today?
Yeah, so there's a lot of application of AI going, both inside the hospital as well as outside. I think inside the hospital, we are seeing a focus on efficiency and assistive, providing assistance to the clinician in terms of reading or automating the diagnosis of some of these images. Now, outside the hospital, I was particularly at this health conference. I was pleasantly surprised to see the startup community is really buzzing with different types of innovations. I saw several where they're applying things like AI and natural language processing at the edge to do things like digital assistants.
Yes.
Like at the home of the patient, where you are just talking to this digital assistant, and it's able to give you some recommendations, asking you, how do you feel today? Have you taken your medication? What's your mood like? It's also providing some general, suggestions around, hey, listen to this video, listen to this particular physical therapy module. So I think there's a lot happening there in that space, and it'll help with health and wellness and continuity of care. Even chronic care management could be an area
absolutely
that could be impacted here in a good way.
Yeah, actually, I completely agree. And ironically, your good friend Tony Nunes, my good friend Tony Nunes from AMD, actually, I had him on the show, he actually spoke specifically about that, and that's kind of one of his thought leader tracks, is how everybody's going to have a digital assistant. And when you think about it, and I know several of my guests bring up, or we've thought AI is going to be like this kind of a colder technology, and maybe create more disparities, but it's in healthcare just because of some of the generations of AI. However, that's not true at all. I think it's actually AI is going to create so much personalization. So you're going to have this digital assistant, literally, that's going to know you, have all your medications, and have all your history, have all your blood tests, have everything, and then to your point, we just said is CCM and chronic care management is able to help you every single day. Hey, did you do this? Let's take your blood pressure. Let's measure your A1C. Let's all those things that you need to do, whether it's chronic care management or just in general. I like it. I don't have any, thankfully I'm very healthy and exercise and don't have any chronic conditions, but a digital assistant is absolutely going to help me in having somebody 24/7, basically be part of my life, help me with my exercise routines, my, obviously dietary habits and things like that. So, what's coming our way is extremely exciting, and I think really can bend the cost curve, considering 90% of our costs are to chronic care. I totally believe what you just said, and having digital assistants are absolutely going to be able to bend the cost curve there. So.
Right. No, yeah, that's a great point. And healthcare is about cost, is about efficiency, and at the end of the day, it's about outcomes. And I think this constant reminder, hey, drink water, or
yes.
Hey, just sit up. You have been sitting down for more than 2 hours, and you got to just stretch and walk around. Things like that can make a difference. Is that atomic habits that slowly and constantly it'll develop within you, and you'll tend to will translate into consistent action. I think the other point, we were talking about just AI as going into a broader mass adoption. I think another point is, how do we personally start using AI in different aspects of our lives? Mm-hmm. So I was just discussing this with another colleague of mine. There's a lot of personal productivity, efficiency aspect to it. Mm-hmm. And as individuals, we need to be more AI aware, AI trained, and be able to use AI. So for instance, we were all at this healthcare conference, and I met so many people. And obviously, unlike 5 years back, where I used to move with a small notebook and a pen, I'm not taking notes. I'm probably snapping some pictures and putting some, in my, and that's all I'm doing. And then how do I effectively follow up with all of the people I met? And so there's a personal productivity side of it, which will drive users to adopt AI in different platforms. And one good example of this, someone just asked me, hey, what's the most exciting thing you saw at Health? And I was thinking about that mental health use case from National Health Services in the UK. Mm-hmm. And right now it's a picture in my phone, along with 1,500 other other photographs.
Right.
So how do I quickly get to that? And so all I did was use a generative AI app and pointed it to that folder, and it scanned through all the images and selected 5 of them and said, yeah, these are the ones which deals with mental health, NHS. Things like that are going to make us make a big difference in the way we work. And frankly, it's also important because that level of awareness and acceptance of these tools is needed for us to really see the benefit and start using AI in different aspects of our lives.
I completely agree, and I want to follow up on something you said a moment ago before we move forward. Those little micro changes. A friend of mine wrote a book called The Balance Equation. It's all about those little micro changes that you do on a daily basis that make a huge difference. In a year from now, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road, if you make those little micro changes today, very small, it makes demonstrable difference to you, health-wise, finance-wise, down the road. And so I completely believe in that. I live like that, so I want to make a special note of that because it's made a huge difference in my life. Those little changes that all of us can do.
Yeah.
Very true. Thinking in the last minute or so, we have thinking beyond today. What do you see as a key strategy or trend that we must be ready to navigate successfully in 2 to 3 years from now?
So that's a great question. We're given the trends, and let's say we prove out the AI use cases in our labs. We are able to scale it out. We figure out the people process side of it. People become more open and accepting of AI, and we are able to address the accuracy, the security, privacy. There's a lot of challenges there, but I think the industry as a whole is making progress. But coming from a technology side of things, because that's where I focus, I feel there are certain fundamental foundational things that we are going to encounter as we start to scale this AI to every user within a hospital, every clinician or patient, and that is around the connectivity. So if you are trying to access or make use of AI, you need to be able to collect the data from the edge, and you need to be able to access those insights in a timely manner at the point of care at the right time. So the network and connectivity becomes a really important enabling factor there. And with technologies like public as well as private 5G will be very important to kind of enable a vast system of IoT devices to gather data at the edge, and then the constant, reliable, secure connectivity to then get the insights to the right people at the right time to make those decisions.
That is fantastic, and I completely agree. We don't actually talk about that connectivity in that regard enough. Well, Susmit, we are at time. Truly appreciate you joining the show, and obviously I'll see you at HIMSS 25.
It was a pleasure. Yeah, I look forward to being there and reconnecting with you. And thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, and look forward to having you. I'll have you in the show there as well, my friend. Have a great rest of your conference and great rest of your day. Take care. Welcome back to This Justin Radio Show, broadcasting live from Health 2024 in sunny Las Vegas. I'm very excited to introduce my next guest and new friend of the show, Ovie Mughelli, two-time All-Pro NFL veteran and healthcare and wellness advisor. Welcome to the show, Ovie.
Well, thanks for having me, brother. I appreciate it.
You got it, my friend. And first of all, thank you very much for joining the broadcast, certainly coming here from health and sharing your experiences. So for my audience, Ovie and I first met about 3 years ago, I think it was, at a Captain Planet event hosted by our good friends Laura and Rutherford Seidel, and to go at the Georgia HIMSS annual conference. And at that conference, you were on a very cool NFL panel that covered a broad range of topics from AWS and AI in the NFL to the digital athlete, but you really focused on player health and reducing injuries. And I'd love if you could spend a few minutes just highlighting what you spoke about on the panel with your good friend Byron Scott.
Well, we really spoke about just the fact that players have to, how do I put this? We have to recognize and admit that we are not superheroes. We're not immortal. We aren't immune to disease and injury. But that's the mindset guys take. We're not coming out of a game unless you have to drag us off. Me And Brian Scott talked about the fact that concussions used to be a hold up a couple fingers, you good? Can you count the fingers? And whatever you said, like, oh, he's good, get back in there. And we would go back in there because we felt like we were being strong, we were being a man, we were being tough by fighting through injury. Because they'd say, are you hurt or are you injured? If you're injured, then you can't play, you can't walk. If you're hurt, get back in there. And the part of the panel was some of the injuries that we get, we can't see. Some of the injuries that are mental, some of the things you go through with depression, with anxiety, guys go through mental issues that can affect them long term, have to be dealt with. And a lot of the issues physically, especially with the concussions, these are things where we have to understand that pushing past the pain and pushing through the pain isn't going to serve us and our families in the long term. So it was just an honest talk with some healthcare professionals where we could tell them our point of view and pull the curtain back a little bit and have them see how health works in the NFL landscape.
Yeah, and you did a great job. You're an extremely articulate speaker, and I was very impressed. I didn't even know that you were going to be on the panel. I had not had a chance to even look at the run of show. I was doing my radio show there off to the side, and then I see you walk up on stage, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Ovie.
I know that guy.
I know that guy. That was so cool. And the whole topic around even how AI, and AWS is bringing AI into the NFL, and the relationship. We see all those next-gen stats, and it's just very cool how they are monitoring every aspect now, how technology innovation is really integrating itself into not only healthcare, but also now into the NFL, and how it's really looking at how the body moves even on the field, and then looking at how can we make that better. To your point is, people would just push through before, but we know at the end of the day, that is not the right thing. And so we're using technology innovation to hopefully make better choices and, have healthier lives long term, on and off the field, I would say. So.
Absolutely. And one of the cool things that me and Brian were talking about that we wish we had back in our day is that they track everything. I mean, stats don't mean as much unless you have the ability to collect data and information. And the fact that there are so many wearables in the helmets, in the pads you can put on the player's body. You know how fast they're going. You know when they stop. You know when they get a big injury or a big impact. And all these stats go into this machine that can tell you anything and everything about the player, but most importantly, how to keep that player healthy. That's amazing right now. The new, I think, age of players are going to really appreciate and hopefully get a lot out of the fact that we're tracking everything.
Yeah, well said, well said. So where did your passion for healthcare come from?
Oh, that's an easy one. It's my parents. My mother and father have been working in the healthcare industry since I was born. My father's an OBGYN. My mother, she has her MBA and is his head nurse, head accountant, head advisor. She's everything. Eh? They mix business and pleasure very well by work always comes home goes to work,
Yep.
But they've made it work. And watching my dad literally bring life into this earth as an OBGYN and helping him at his practice, answering the phones, filing papers, cleaning toilets,
Exactly.
cheap labor.
Yep.
I got to see the power of a good physician and how important it is to have people in the healthcare space that are there for the right reasons, that are going to prioritize the patient and prioritize getting the job done, not just making a lot of money or fame or whatever else people join the healthcare space for. It should be about the patient at all times or about the outcomes. And my dad has done that. And so after I finished my NFL career, I kind of have really gotten to the healthcare space and stayed there because, a lot of us want to be like our fathers. And I wanted to have the same impact that my mom and dad had.
Where'd you grow up? What part of the country?
I grew up in Charleston, South Carolina. I was a Nigerian Southern boy.
That's awesome. And you went to Wake Forest, is that correct?
I did, my friend. I went to Wake Forest, and I was probably one of the only college football players at Wake Forest that was pre-med, taking cell biology or organic chemistry, anatomy, going to the basement of our gym and cutting up cadavers, putting pins and tendons and ligaments and, all types of fun stuff. And then I had to run and jump the fence to get to practice late on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which I got approved by my parents and my head coach, Coach Jim Caldwell. My parents said, hey, coach, you said he came here for school, not football.
Right.
And Jim was one of the few coaches that actually stood by that word. Most coaches would say, yeah, I said that. I didn't mean that. Who comes to school for for school. Like every college football player knows that football comes first. That's not even, we don't even skirt around that issue anymore. It's a football thing, and you do school if you can.
Absolutely. And you got your MBA, is that correct? Remember that too?
I did. Went to George Washington University. After I retired, me and my wife both went through an NFL program, got our masters, and it was great because working in the business landscape now, I use that quite often.
Very, very, I can tell. I can tell from our conversations. Very cool. And before we kind of close out the show, the last question. I obviously have a lot of Falcons fans that are part of my broadcast because I started in Atlanta. I live in Florida now, but still have probably 80% of my listeners are out of the Atlanta, the Southeast region. So tell us a little bit about your podcast that you have and that you're doing.
Oh, of course. Yeah, Believe in Falcons, but it's not spelled Believe, not the regular word, regular way. It's spelled Believe, Bleab, Believe in Falcons. We're on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We have a YouTube channel as well. That's on the part of the Believe Network. So we get to talk about Falcons football in an intimate way where there's a lot of great Falcons podcasts out there, but ours is a little special because you have the best fullback in Falcons franchise history, myself, and the best tailback in Falcons history, Michael Turner. We got 4 All-Pros between us. We get to give you a player's point of view of what's going on with the team, and a lot of fans so far are liking it. If you check us out, I'm pretty sure you will too.
Absolutely, brother. Love it, love it. So what are you doing now in healthcare? And what are you focusing on?
It's been really exciting because before the pandemic, I worked in a lot of spaces, but after the pandemic, I've been really focusing on wellness. And so my company brings wellness programs to businesses to help them with recruitment, retention, and revenue. We leverage government tax code. So get this, we're able to give companies tax savings just for offering extra wellness benefits to their employees and an employee pay raise. So to repeat, we will give companies around $500 on average per employee per year back, and they get to give their employees extra telehealth, primary care, urgent care. They get medications for free. They get to get counseling. They get an indemnity program to where if they go to the hospital, they get $1,000 back. They get all these great benefits, and they get a pay raise because the government wants to encourage them to be healthier. So we work with the Kaiser Permanentes of the world, the Carvanas of the world, the Rockefeller Foundation of the world, small, big, medium companies. Any company that has 15 or more W-2 employees can reach out to us and we can help them immediately, because for a business owner, their employees, their people are their most important resource. So we want to help them realize that.
Yeah, and it's also, I have a lot of companies, and that's most expensive, most expensive aspect of our business are people and then their insurance. And so it's exactly expensive. So, I love so when you told me what you're doing, I absolutely love it because, keeping our employees healthy, higher quality of life, they're more productive, they're just happier in general. It's also what we should be doing as business owners and as society leaders, is helping our people and helping, everybody, again, get better health care, healthier lifestyles, just educate them. Because people do care. A lot of the times they do care. They just don't know. And so by educating them in what you're doing makes a big, big difference.
And the thing is that I tell everyone that, it doesn't hurt to get information. You don't know what you don't know. And there is someone at your company right now. There's a secretary who may have a daughter who's being bullied at school, deal with depression, and maybe they don't have a mental health counseling program for the employee's kids. But with us, it's the employee and their whole family have unlimited, zero copay access to counseling, mental health counseling, to any type of behavioral health, dermatology, primary care, urgent care, dental. Like, we have the whole menu of things where you can improve the health of yourself and your family. So I'm always like, it doesn't cost anything to get information. You can go to onowellnessconsulting.com, ONOWELLNESS consulting.com, and find out how you can get involved and get more information.
Mm-hmm. No, it's important. I think even after I saw you, I came back to Florida. I saw you in Atlanta in early October for the conference, and then I came back to Sarasota, and then sure enough, I had a Category 5 hurricane coming right at me, and I evacuated. Thankfully, it only hit as a Cat 3, but my condo, I took a direct hit. I wasn't here, but we lost our parking structure. But the mental stress that I went through packing up, knowing I have a Cat 5 hurricane coming right at me, and knowing that I'm probably going to lose my condo, lose everything here. So I packed up my SUV to the gills and just drove north. And, I knew I was going to lose it. I was just like, and I absolutely love it here on the water. It's amazing. It's my dream home. But I just, in my heart, knew I was going to lose it. And so the mental anguish that I went through, I didn't lose it, thankfully. We lost our parking structure, but that's the least of our worries. I still have gone through it, just drained me. And so mental health is real. I think, we're seeing that more and more, certainly now coming out of COVID. But now, this has been a direct hit for me is I actually met some people at the health conference and talked to them about it as well. So I highly recommend people look into what you're doing, what you can provide, how you can benefit them, their company, their employees. It makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
All right, my friend. Well, hey, it's been great to have you on air. Thank you again. When do you guys broadcast your podcast? You guys now it's every 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, so we do it twice a week. We do it before the game and after the game. So we might do an instant reaction on Sundays. It depends on time of the game. But we always, by Monday, we want to talk to our fans and kind of go through me and Mike's thoughts. Man, we're doing great this year. Falcons are on a nice little track. I'm not going to get too cocky because, that's when things get bad. But it's great to see our Falcons doing well this year. We also do a episode before the game. Usually we're posting it on Friday. So this week's going to be special because we got my brother, Wake Forest's own Jesse Bates. And so I don't know if I mentioned I just got inducted to the Wake Forest Sports Hall of Fame, which I'm very excited about. And I know Jesse Bates is going to be right behind me very soon because he's the best safety in the league. And thankfully the Falcons have him. So he'll be on the podcast this week. And if you guys check us out, it's going to be a great episode.
Amen. Amen. Ovie, thank you so much for joining me, my friend. You have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon.
Will do. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Many thanks to my show supporters and partners, and certainly to Rich Scarfo and the entire health team for this opportunity to broadcast live each year from the health conferences, and this year from Health 24 in sunny Las Vegas. And a big thank you again to all of my listeners and all of my supporters. And please tune in as we broadcast these shows weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific. As always, you can find me on my LinkedIn at Justin T. Barnes or track me on Twitter at HLT Advisor and use the hashtag ThisJustinRadio so we can respond to your comments from the show. If you miss any of this broadcast and want to hear any of my shows, they're all posted at Amazon Music, YouTube, Spotify, Pandora, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Spreaker, and on the TuneIn platforms. And also, you can check out some of the new content we published on the Thought Leadership page at justinbarnes.com. Thanks, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.